frosting on the roof this morning. I love Michigan. I really
Ridiculous.
do.
Absolutely.
We'll have warm weather here by like my May 25th, maybe. Anyway, I love our down in the box. Haven't done one in a while. We got a lot to talk about, a lot to unpack with this illustrious panel. College basketball, college football experts Chris Young, Jeremy Norquist, and Mark Dodson. They know it all. They're highly opinionated. I'm just here batting the ball around with them. And we got a lot to talk about with this transfer portal relative to the University of Michigan, Michigan State, and other schools. But I want to touch briefly on, it's been a few days, but I want to touch briefly on Monday night. I thought, guys, and I've been watching the Final Four since I was 8, Cassie Russell back in 64. That was the semifinals were two of the most intriguing games. And I thought game one, at least 3/4 of that game was one of the best played games, both offensively and defensively, between Auburn and Florida. I just really enjoyed it. It was my style of downhill basketball, attack the rim, defend. What were your thoughts, Chris, about the Final Four and then that particular game too?
Yeah, those were two of the best games we saw all season across the board. I mean, the level of play from Auburn and from Florida was phenomenal. Like Auburn got up kind of big, and then all of a sudden they let it fall apart. And then Florida with the dream scenario in the Final Four, coming back and getting steals and making shots and coming down the stretch and getting the W like that in the Final Four, let alone what they did in the national championship. And then that Duke-Houston game, man. 6.5 minutes left to go, and Duke's high five and a Cooper Flags, all smiles and stuff like that. Then they don't score for the next 7 minutes. It's like, I mean, what we couldn't have hoped for a better Final Four games than what we had.
Right. I agree. Hey, Mark, when you watch the title game, Houston led for 38 minutes of the whole game, 38 and a half. Did the better team win? Was Florida the better team, or was Houston, in your opinion?
I thought Houston played the better game. I picked Florida to win it from the outset.
Yeah.
For whatever reason. I got caught up in the SEC, and they had a good season.
They did.
If it was just as between those two, and you're assessing who had the better team on that game, I thought Houston was the better team.
I did too. I felt bad for them. I got a little anti-SEC kind of envy or whatever, disdain, whatever. And I wanted Houston. I used to cover them in my first job back in the day during Five Slamma Jamma back in the early 80s. So I have a tie to them. I feel bad for, that program. They've been in the hunt multiple times. And that was unfortunate. Jeremy, when you watched that game, it was so demonstrative, the difference in officiating. The first half was a rock fight, calling nothing. 4 fouls called, and then second half, the whistles were blowing. I mean, that's a lack of consistency, and that's not a good thing, is it, Jeremy?
Oh no, that's some of the you can't listen as a player. You gotta if they're letting you bump and they're letting you grab in the first half, there's got to be something like that in the second half. You can't come out with four whistles in the first half and 25 in the second half. Very poor. Referee is controlling the game, and the referees can control the game. And the second half, that was, I thought they were letting them play maybe even a little too much in the first half. And I'm sure they went back to the locker room and they said, we need to clean this up a little bit.
Yeah,
but the way they did it was so bad. I knew, and the problem is that with, you can call a foul almost on any play. All right. It's like NFL or whatever, NFL where you can call holding on any play. Yeah. It's just got to be egregious where, you go to the rack and someone hooks your arm or something like that. And, blah, blah, blah. But 25 whistles in the second half. I knew there was 4 minutes. They went through 4 minutes and to me, the team that didn't reach as much, which was Florida, because they don't play as much D as Houston, they had 5 fouls to 0, and I knew it was going to be the referees are going to tie that shit up quick. Like it was 5-5 within 2 minutes, and I'm like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah, I agree. You know, Chris, I want you to go in the role. You're a head basketball coach at a college football power, or you got a great job, D1, Power 4 school. What would be your stuff? What would be your brand, your identity of your team? Would you be an offensive team up and down, or would you be like the Houston Cougars who just muck it up, have a rock fight? What kind of recruiting? Because that was effective. That was very effective this year, I thought.
I mean, I would definitely be a muck it up guy. Like I would start on the defensive end and then get out and run from there. Like, you stop the other team from scoring, you're going to win games because you're going to get shots on the other end. You win the rebounding war, you're going to win the game 9 times out of 10. I mean, look at what Izzo's done for the last 30 years. His teams that have always had the most success have always started on the defensive side and then transitioned to the offensive side. And that's the way I was brought up playing. Like, that's what I would do. If I was Dusty or if I was any of these coaches, like, it'd be like, I need a defensive player. I need a big that's going to be down there, controlling the paint, blocking shots, getting rebounds, and let's go. And then you got a couple quick guys on the wing, and let's go, man.
Yeah. Mark, if Michigan by chance had survived the Auburn game and the Elite Eight game, how do you think they would have done in the Final Four? Would they have competed? Would they have embarrassed themselves? Or, would they have won the whole thing? What do you think?
They would have competed. They would have lost. Look, those teams were the 4 best teams, they were the 4 best teams because they for the most part didn't have lulls, lapses. They consistently played good ball on both ends. I think one of the things that was understated about that Duke team, people like to talk about Flag as much as they wanted to, but that team checked. That team defended
big time,
and I think Auburn was probably the weakest of the 4.
Yep.
Or the most schizophrenic of the 4, the less disciplined of the 4. But the other 3 were really disciplined teams.
Yeah.
And they started on defense, something that is you can take on the road. And they would have competed because they were competing all year. But at some point, your talent limitations, and Michigan had quite a few talent limitations. Is a problem for you. And when you talk about checking and the physicality of that game, in the championship game, Cheddar would have fouled out in the first 5. He could not have been allowed. They would not have allowed him to defend in the post.
Yeah.
The way they allowed some of those cats to defend in the post for whatever reason. He's not, and we talked about that before, but man, they would have competed. They would have competed. I don't think they were as good as any of those 4 teams.
Yeah. Well, I think Florida, as good as they all were offensively, boy, did they show some defense, Jeremy, down the stretch. I mean, my God, did Houston get a shot off the last 2 or 3 possessions? They didn't. We know that. I mean, they just stifled it. And you could tell, Jeremy, with 11 seconds to go in that possession, I take that 13 seconds to go, they were in trouble. They were in trouble because optically, you saw what Florida was doing schematically on that guarding the perimeter. I think Florida thought Houston was going to go for the dagger and hit one beyond the arc, and they were denying that. That was my takeaway, and that's ended up what happened.
Well, I think, you might be right. I don't know what Kelvin drew up, but the one thing is that I think game time, I'm a firm believer that these guys go too late. Okay. These teams.
Always thought that.
I think especially like if you're okay. So first half, you want the end of the time shot, end of the half shot. You want to go at about 10, and you want to try to get a tip.
Yeah.
If it comes off, but like you're down 1, I think you just run your offense. You go at like even if you're going for the win, you got to go at 15. You got to start moving it because when you start going at 10. You're limiting yourself to literally maybe 1, maybe 2 passes.
Yeah.
And that's what they did.
No chance for an offensive rebound if you miss it.
Yeah. I don't think that was strategic, Jeremy. I think they just got checked.
Yeah,
they just the whole offense originated with the guards, and
Right.
and once they extended the defense and got in those guards' faces, they were going to have to make a play.
Right.
And if you watch how the play played out, they weren't the last guy, I can't remember his name. Who was the guy that almost did the walk-in fake? He jumped. He was going to shoot it, but he was getting blocked, so he just dropped the ball. Sharp. That play wasn't been run for him. He just came out of the corner.
That Houston was bringing the ball up. That Florida knew.
Yeah. And Emmanuel Sharp was 1 for 7 from 3-point land.
Florida knew that they were going to try and shoot a three. That's why all the bigs and everything pushed all the way up.
Well, I thought Cryer was going to get the ball. I mean, everybody thought Cryer. I mean, he's a former national champion. I mean, I thought and that's where I thought Florida shelled their defense very efficiently. And that was an awkward ending. It was a great defensive play, Walter Clayton Jr., but I mean, he went flying at him. But I hate endings like that. I just do. But hey, it was a great win for Florida.
Speaking of Walter, what do y'all think about Clayton? Who is he a comparable in the next level? I for whatever reason I can't shake Trey Burke. How would you guys compare him to Trey Burke?
I think that's actually a good comparison. Trey Burke's a little smaller.
Yeah.
I think that Clayton probably shoots it a little better than Trey Burke. Okay. But I think that I can't tell defensively. I mean, Walter Clayton, I don't want to say he's come from nowhere, but in the mock drafts now, he was not even on it. Now he's in the mid first round.
Well, that's what a Final Four does, exposure wise. It showcased you. Chris, speaking of Walter Clayton Jr., so I mean, and I don't know. I'm using this as a segue into our transfer portal discussion. But so I don't know if I heard this right or wrong, but he got $2 million to go from Iona to Florida. $2 million. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, is that worth it for Florida? $2 million to be a national champion? I mean, because he was the decision maker in that.
Yes.
Right?
Look at what Ohio State football did. Yes, it's worth it. That's what the world of the transfer portal is now. You're trying to buy national championships. That's what it's come down to. Kansas tried to get in Hunter, and that didn't really work out for them. But Florida did it, and it worked. Ohio State football did it, and it worked. You spend that type of money on these guys,
Yeah, how are you philosophically and your passion for college basketball as a former player? How does that settle with you of what's going on?
Well, Jeremy and I have talked about it a lot. I mean, it's the transfer portal and all the NIL is an amazing thing for the athletes, but it is absolutely destroying the MAC level schools. Anybody that's any good at any MAC level school, they're going to have one good year at Eastern, and then all of a sudden they're getting poached and they're getting $500,000 to go to the Big East or go to the Big Ten or something like that. And so that level of basketball is really going to see a major fall off because they just can't keep the good players, the kids that got kind of a little overlooked coming out of high school that have to go there that turned out to be very good players. So, from a player's perspective, man, it's great. Like I'm basically a pro at 18 years old. I'm getting paid. I'm getting all this money and all that. But from an outsider looking at the game, it's destroying those lower levels. It's creating much higher level. And listening to Sam and Dusty yesterday on TKA, Sam brought up a good comment. Not a single freshman checked into the national championship game.
Yeah,
we're starting to see more and more and more of the upperclassmen too, because it's guys that go to Eastern for a year or two, then transfer and still have 2 years left that aren't quite good enough to go to the league, but are killers still.
Yeah, it's AAA bad. It's like the Toledo Mud Hens are the mid-major. Rick Pitino on Saturday in San Antonio talked about who needs to recruit high school kids. Just go get I call it the pre-owned car. The higher end pre-owned vehicle. Pay a little bit more money as opposed to a brand new vehicle. Have that vehicle have experience, and Mark, Michigan's doing this. I mean, they have a freshman coming in, a very good one, and Trey McKinney. But I mean, how do you think Michigan's doing in the portal right now, Mark Dodson? And do you think Dusty's taking the right approach?
What's the right approach?
Well, I don't know. I mean, you define what you think. I mean, winning basketball.
Man, I don't know. I don't know. I don't think this stuff is necessarily strategic. I think these folks are reacting to the marketplace. It's just the way it is. I think Jussie said, I don't know. Did y'all catch Jussie's interview yesterday?
I didn't. Chris did. I did not.
Yeah, I did. I listened to most of it yesterday. Yeah.
He said these guys are all in the portal.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah, you're recruiting your whole team all over again.
Yeah, they're all in the portal. And this is a matter if they're staying or leaving. Oh, yeah. And that's how
look at what Justin Pippen did. They're in the middle of a Sweet 16 run, and he's like, man, I'm out because it's the first day of the portal, and I'm going to leverage everything I can to try and get some more money because I'm not playing here. So
and you got to believe Walters was out. He had checked out.
Oh yeah.
Yep. And Trey was fielding calls.
Yeah. Fat obviously was thinking about, okay, I'm out of here too.
Yeah.
Okay. So what do you think of that? Let me ask you this. So what do you think? So now you always say, oh, we're brought up, and we're older than you two guys, Mark and I are, but you're brought up. Hey, you got to fight for your position. You don't take easy reign, go somewhere else. You fight for what you got right here. You quote unquote earn it. You earn it. Don't go running somewhere else. I mean, is this Chris Young? Is this maybe testimony of this generation?
It's a different era. It's a different way that the kids are brought up. So I started getting recruited to Michigan as a sophomore in high school. I committed right after my junior year of high school. I committed to Steve Fisher and Brian Dutcher. Those are the guys I wanted to play for. Yeah. Into my senior year of high school, Fish gets fired. I get a call from the University of Michigan, and I'd already signed my letter of intent. I get a call from them saying, hey, the coach was fired. If you want out of your letter of intent, you can go somewhere else. And I said, no, I committed to go here. This is what I'm doing.
Great.
I didn't reopen my recruitment at all. Like it wasn't even a consideration. I had said that this is what I was doing, and that was it. So it's just okay, I'm a different breed when it comes to that kind of stuff, but that's just the way I look at it. And then going into sitting in Brian Ellerby's office every year in June, knowing that these 4-year scholarships are really 1-year contracts.
Yeah.
And having that conversation, like, look, man, I want to come back. I want to be a part of this. We're building something, and that's the way I felt.
You're Major Blue through and through. Jeremy, did you think what's going on in the portal and NIL and the enticements and things like that? BYU has a $5 or $7 million incoming freshman, depending on what you look at. I mean, does this make you think less of college football or college basketball or college football? Your passion for those sports, does that diminish that liking you have or not?
Yes. Let me explain why. So at Eastern Michigan, like I feel bad for my friends that were high major guys. CY, I got a couple other buddies, real good buddies. I mean, like I'm not saying like you take them back 25 years ago. I mean, they're getting at least $500,000 a year. That's game changing money. Okay,
that's crazy.
Here's the other thing is that when I was at Eastern Michigan, like we didn't know it at the time. CY didn't know it. No one. I mean, CY's a little younger than I, but like we had Earl Boykins, Derek Dial, James Head. We had 3 NBA guys on our team. Like at the time, you couldn't go to the internet and go, "Are these guys good?"
Yeah,
you had to, and they stay. I mean, they had no choice but to stay, right? Yeah. But it was a 1-year contract on both sides, which is good for the kids now. That's my point. Mm-hmm. But for me at 47 years old, is it diminishing returns a little bit when I watch NCAA and I watch, I hear the numbers come out and the coaches are making a shit ton of money, but you think about these kids, now Walter Clayton will play in the NBA, but let's say AJ Storr from Wisconsin, who is rumored to get like between $1 million and $2 million a year to play at Kansas last year. Yeah. He has a shit year. He's probably not going to play in the NBA. So now he's going to go overseas and make good money, which is, maybe $200,000 a year. Yeah. But $200,000 compared to $2 million? Like you're setting and you're giving these kids money. They got to pay taxes on it. They got to do all this stuff. And to me, it's diminishing returns. That's the only thing I'll say.
Yeah, I agree. Mark, Tom Izzo he has voiced this, his opinion, negative opinions about the transfer portal, and he's been able to dodge that bullet. But he currently, right now, with Jace Richardson leaving and Trey Holloman, I mean, he's down to 8 scholarship players. How well do you think Tom Izzo will do adapting to the demands that he's going to have on just to fill out his roster.
Oh, he'll fill it out. Yeah, he'll fill it out. He's taking people out of the portal before, out of necessity. Oh, he'll figure out a way to fill it out. The question is, what kind of players? He'll figure it out. You say he's got 8 people currently on his roster?
As of today. That changes all the time.
Does that include the freshmen coming in?
I don't know. I just heard he's got 8 right now. Whatever that is.
Yeah, I don't know what kind of,
there's 15 guys now with scholarship.
I don't follow them enough to know. They had a couple guys that are redshirt, at least one guy that redshirted, maybe 2. I'm gonna have to look that up. But yeah, he'll figure it out. He doesn't like to lose. I was watching. By the way, did y'all watch the special they did Friday night locally?
I did not. No, not interested. Really? Not interested at all.
It was really. Ooh, damn! It was really well done.
That's great. Good job, I love it. I don't like the school.
And they highlighted the Flintstones.
Yeah.
Which is dear to my heart.
Sure.
That team was ridiculously talented.
Yeah.
As it turns out. A lot of it focused on Mike Garland. Did y'all know the Mite Garland story?
About the heart? Yeah, we know about that in Holt.
You know how that incident went down? They actually showed the side of the road.
I know. We saw that many times. Yeah, that's been shown. Absolutely. That's crazy.
I hadn't seen it till Friday night.
Now they have an organization, an fundraising effort to draw awareness of that. I mean, you're taking a negative and flip it into a positive. Mike Garland's an amazing guy. And he was at Izzo's side, a former teammate of Tom Izzo at Northern Michigan. That was a great story. I mean, all kidding aside, I mean, and Chris is probably not real fond of that 2000 Michigan State team. I'm telling you that right now. But
hey, 25 years later, man, it is what it is. Like, I honestly don't give a shit.
Well, I just like good basketball.
I know
and those cats play. I can appreciate good. They play good basketball.
Yeah.
Anyway, can we talk a little bit about Trey McKinney?
Go ahead.
Have y'all seen? Have you seen him yet?
Well, I saw him play in the East Lansing game on my computer.
Yep.
I saw him play.
Have y'all, Jeremy, Chris? Have you put your eyes on him and tried to evaluate him as a player?
Yeah, I went to the semifinal game, the Orchard Lake St. Mary's EL game at the Breslin the other 3 weeks ago, whatever it was, and I saw the dude, and he's kind of like all of us were, that that real high level high school player playing his last couple games in high school, knowing that you're going to play at a big time college and stuff like that, where you can see he's just head and shoulders better than everybody. Like, I went and watched Underwood play against Catholic Central in his last game, Belleville at CC. And you could tell, like, there's certain guys you go and watch him play in high school. It's like, yeah, that's a dude. Now, how that's going to translate to the Big Ten, I don't know.
I will say this.
Because I'm sure Fat Guy Brooks was like that. And it's how does that translate? How does it fit in with the pieces that they've got? How is he able to adapt to the college life as opposed to being in high school?
My biggest takeaway on Trey is this, and I saw him also in the McDonald's All-American game that was on last weekend. He's got big quads, man. He's like Darnell Valley. He's a big dude. He's very physical. He's not explosive off the dribble downhill. He's not that. And that's all right. But Michigan's going to have to fill that. They need that kind of guy. Because all you're seeing in all these games, the Final Four participants and a lot of the Sweet 16 Elite 8 teams, they have that explosive speed dribbler downhill guy. And I don't know who that's going to be for Michigan next year. I don't know. Well, I don't know if he's going to be there on the team for all that. What do you think, Jeremy? You need that downhill guy, right?
You do. Here's the problem. I've told Chris this, and to the millions of fans out there, I don't think it translates that well. The reason is that height. I think he's 6'4". Tell me the last Tell me the last super effective 6'4" in the Big Ten.
Yeah.
Tell me the last, super effective that is not uber athletic. Like, you could say, Jace Richardson.
That's the key right there. That's the key, is he's not uber athletic.
He's not super athletic.
He's big, he's strong, he's kind of fast, but not really. He's talented, but he's missing that like freak athlete aspect to his game.
And I could be totally wrong, but I think he'll still get to his spot. The problem is once he gets to his spot, he's shooting over 6'6", 6'7", and that's different.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, Cadeau, he's a downhill kind of guy, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
All right, so he might be a better facilitator for McKinney than Trey would have been.
Would Trey play point guard if he plays point guard?
No, he's a 2. He's a 2.
You talking about McKinney?
McKinney's a 2.
Yeah. He is very skilled and he's clever. He's not explosive. He's not fast. He doesn't have that burst kind of thing. He doesn't wire you that way. But he's super. He's got all kind of skill. He's got every.
If he can handle the ball, Dot, like I might take what I said. I just don't know. I think he would be, if he can handle the rock. I don't think he needs to be super uber fast and get to his spots. I just don't know if he can. If he's a 2, I don't think it works. If he can find a way to play point guard, then the sky's the limit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's going to be interesting, man.
See, Michigan needs a guy to
what do you think, Doc?
Yeah,
he can shoot it, and he can shoot. He's got every shot in the book. He can do mid range. He can do from deep. Mm-hmm. He's got a good enough. He's clever with the ball. The next question is, okay, now when he goes against guys that are uber athletic, are they going to necessarily
6'7" and 6'7"? That's the difference. Jeremy brought that up. Like there's some 2 guards around the Big Ten that are 6'6", 6'7" that are uber athletic and just long as hell. Can he still get that shot off over them?
Who was the kid's name at Wisconsin? What was his name?
John Tonje.
What were his measurables?
He's 6'6".
Okay,
he's pretty thick.
Yeah.
Guys, on the pool, I'm going to have Morris Johnson Jr. And sometimes you hear some weird stories. I mean, if he ends up going to Michigan, which I think he will, how effective do you think he will be? Mark, why don't you start with you on Morris Johnson Jr.?
How effective will he be?
Yeah.
Well, that raises a good question. I was just in a chat with somebody, and he talked about Dusty's offensive system. Let me start there and ask you folks, what is your take or your sense as to if somebody was to ask you to describe Dusty's offensive system, how would you describe it?
You throw your hands up. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
There you go.
Well, and Dusty actually he addressed that yesterday with Sam. Like, he's not trying to go out and recruit another Vlad and another Danny so he can run that 5-4 ball screen. Like, he doesn't know if that's going to work with the guys he's got coming in next year. So he's willing to adapt to what he's got, which is good. But I mean, you gotta. I don't want to say you throw out all your offensive ideas every time you bring in a new team, but to some point you have to, because you might get a 5-man that can't run the floor and catch the ball over the top and get a dunk and can't set that ball screen and roll and catch everything the way Vlad does. So you have to adjust certain things. So hopefully he's smart enough to see what the pieces that he's got and adjust around it, not just say, okay, we're running this set because this is what I've always ran.
No.
There's my answer to your question, Tom. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. I don't know either.
I don't know how he's going to adapt, because my impression is, and because I didn't watch him a lot, and I got to concede that he is a garbage man kind of player. Would y'all agree? Would y'all agree with that?
Yeah, putback guy. He's a putback guy.
Absolutely. All right, then.
I think he's pretty good.
He's one of those dudes just lurking around the rim. Yeah. Hey, I got no problem with that. But then don't run sets for him. Don't try and post them up. Don't try and run them off ball screens and stuff like that. Like, dude, just go run at the rim.
From the guys,
go get every offensive rebound.
From the guys they got, if it was me, I mean, and this is way too early, but I think they gotta play a very up and down game. Because that's the type of game the Johnson kids play. That's a kid, that's Elliot Cadeau came from, North Carolina. They just go up and down, not much defense, which is shocking because I thought Dusty May would bring, because at Florida Atlantic, they played defense. And now watching them, it feels like it's defense is optional.
Mm-hmm.
But, back to Morris Johnson and to Mark's point, garbage guy. Auburn had this kid named Dylan Cardwell, and he was always hanging around the basket and putbacks and keeping the slap outs. And that's who I think more. And Michigan needs somebody like that.
Yeah. Well, and the dude from Auburn, that's what he did. He hung around the rim. He got tip dunks, and he kept every play alive. He was a more athletic version of Cheddar, just kind of in the midst of every play.
He was. In Michigan, I'm looking at this cat and go, God, in number 44. God, I wish Michigan had somebody like that. And it's been years since they've had somebody like that. And they don't.
Yep.
So hopefully that'll be the case. Hey,
well,
guys,
you can be a lot more effective that way when you got somebody like Broom on the court with you.
Well, that's true.
You don't have to worry about scoring. You can kind of go do your own thing.
Yeah, he was just. I mean, I just watched him on the screen and go, damn, I like that. Hey, Down to the Blocks, our podcast. We're at the 30-minute mark. We're going to close on because we got more to talk about. This is going to be an ongoing story, this portal. I mean, every week's going to have a good flavor to it, and we got a lot to talk about, so we'll talk again soon. Again, Chris Young, Jeremy Norquist, Mark Dodson, you guys were tremendous. Going to post this today here on the Crawford Podcasting Network. Good job, guys.
Hey, thanks, Tom. You're doing great, buddy.
All right.
Great,
Yeah,
be good, buddy.